What's going on, YouTube? It's Big Brother 749 coming back at you with another video. First off, I just want to say rest in peace to Rob Reiner. He was a huge name in Hollywood. He was 78 years old. Most people may know him as Meathead from the old 70s TV show All in the Family. He was the young liberal son-in-law of Archie Bunker, his conservative father-in-law, whom he constantly argued with about politics. And this wasn't just some Hollywood guy. He directed films, giving us movies like The Princess Bride, Stand By Me, A Few Good Men. And he was known for being a diverse director, jumping from a scary thriller to a romantic comedy or a war drama. You know, he didn't just stick to one lane like most directors do, you know, who do horror or action. But Rob Reiner still made those films he directed a masterpiece every time, you know, that shaped the childhoods and the lives of millions of people. But more than anything, he was a loud, outspoken liberal, a political activist, and one of Trump's harshest critics for years. And what had happened was that on Sunday, December 14th, Rob Reiner, who was 78, and his wife, Michelle, who was 68, were found dead. They were stabbed to death at their home by their own son, Nick Reiner, after an argument, which is pretty fucked up because, I mean, that's some demonic possessed type of shit. It's been said that he was a drug addict and had mental health issues. And it's sad that this had to happen, especially during this time of the year. It's just too fucking sad. And I mean, it's still a developing story. It's been said that the son was arrested and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder in connection with their deaths. And it hadn't even been 24 hours later when Trump posted this statement attacking this 78-year-old man who was just murdered, claiming that he died from a political disease called Trump derangement syndrome. Basically saying that his political anger was a mental illness. Now, y'all think about how crazy that is. Just look at the contrast. When Trump was shot last summer, what did we see? We saw Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and the whole entire Democratic leadership immediately come out with compassion. They didn't make it about politics. They condemned the violence and wished them a full recovery because that's what decent human beings do. Then you got to remember back in September when Charlie Kirk was shot and killed in Utah. The reaction from the other side was the same. You had Democrats like AOC and Hakeem Jeffries calling it a tragedy. Even Rob Reiner himself, the man Trump is attacking right now, was one of the first people to come out and say that he was in absolute horror over what happened to Charlie Kirk. He showed respect to a man he disagreed with on everything. But when the shoes are reversed, when this 78-year-old man and his wife are murdered in their own home, that compassion just disappears and is replaced by mockery and I told you so's. And get this, it ain't just the left saying this. Even Marjorie Taylor Greene, one of the biggest Trump supporters we've ever seen, came out and drew a line in the sand. She called Trump's remarks classless and said they were wrong. And that proves that this ain't about being a Republican or a Democrat anymore. It's about that total loss of human decency at the highest level of power. And that disrespectful comment is exactly what we need to talk about because it just shines a light on who in this country is allowed to have an opinion, who's allowed to be angry, and who's worthy of respect, even in death. And personally, I was shocked and saddened by the tragedy, but I wasn't shocked and saddened by Trump's comment because by now I've realized that compassion is not Trump's strong suit. And with this tragedy, I believe I know why Trump was being so vicious towards Rob Reiner. I mean, he's dealt with critics his whole life, but with Rob Reiner, I think the attack felt personal, and I believe that it was just a reaction to a betrayal. Because I think Trump truly figured that Mr. Reiner, who was a wealthy, successful white man, was supposed to be on his side. And this political code that Trump runs on, which is success, whiteness, and traditional American status, are supposed to be equal and show loyalty to his movement. And Rob Reiner didn't follow that code. He used his platform as power and his voice. He used his power and voice to oppose Trump relentlessly. And in Trump's mind, that was more than just a political disagreement. It was a racial and class defection. It was a double sin. Because when Trump labeled Mr. Reiner as deranged, it was like he was punishing him for that betrayal. It's Trump saying to the public, even this man who has all the advantages is still trash because he left the team. Now, a black criticizing Trump, they're never expected to be on the team. So their opposition is simply going to be labeled as crazy or criminal from the start, because for years and years, when black people got angry about racial injustice problems like being segregated and police brutality, the powerful people didn't say, oh, that's justified anger. They called it a riot or disrespect. They made black outrage seem like a crime or a social sickness that needed to be locked up, not a political problem that needed fixing. And when they get called crazy or criminal, that's what politicians do to justify things like sending in the National Guard, cutting funding, or passing laws to end protesters. But when Mr. Reiner opposed against Trump, that was a personal insult to Trump's racial and class coalition. And Trump responded with an insult that's basically saying, your anger is not legitimate, it's just a disease. And here's another dangerous rule at play here. It's that rule of who's worthy of respect, even in death, because we know Trump expects loyalty from white successful people. And he attacked Mr. Reiner because he was a traitor to that unspoken rule. Now think about the reaction of Charlie Kirk, who was seen as this prominent conservative. When people were posting mild or critical things about him, they were getting fired from their jobs. And the message was clear. You're not allowed to speak ill of the honored dead of this side of the aisle, because his death, for the most part, didn't bring genuine grief. It felt like a forced mourning. Now, compare that to Trump. He can be savage about Rob Reiner's death, and he loses nothing. But if someone said something mild or critical about him after he's gone, even if it's true, then that person might end up losing their income. And it's like there's a whole political system that forces people to stay quiet to protect their own side, but at the same time, it lets their leaders be, as mean and cruel as they want to be to their enemies. And that tells us a lot about the whole imbalance of power in this country. And this same unfair rule is even showing up with new stuff like AI videos, because just a few months ago, people were making all these fake AI videos of Dr. King for ads and other weird reasons, because it was wrong. And basically, they was trashing the reputation of a legendary civil rights leader who has been respected and honored for decades. But if you made an AI video of a conservative figure like Charlie Kirk, people would lose their minds and call you disrespectful immediately. But for some reason, the culture thinks it's okay to treat Dr. King's history like it's just public property that anyone can use or sell. And it shows that our country still works harder to protect the so-called brand of certain political figures than it does for the actual heroes of the civil rights movement. And this double standard is ugly, but recognizing it is powerful. And it's sad to realize, because if we only show respect to people who stay on our team, then respect don't mean shit anymore. Because when we let politicians turn a family tragedy into a punchline about mental illness, we're losing our own humanity just to score a political point. And I want to hear from you. Do you think there's a code that successful people are expected to follow, or is this just the new normal for politics in America? Drop a comment below. I want to know if you see this double standard too. And Rob Reiner, he spent his life using his voice, whether you liked what he said or not. And at the end of the day, that's what freedom is supposed to look like, not a loyalty test. So rest in peace to a Hollywood giant. This is Big Brother 749 signing out. I'm out. Peace.